Hi, it's me again. Today we're looking at Roll Through the Ages, Bronze Age by Matt Leacock, designer of Pandemic. This actually came out the same year. Now this game does have a sequel called the Iron Age, but I actually prefer this one, which is pretty rare in board games to prefer the, not the prequel, but the original before the update or the sequel. In this game, you're going to be rolling dice Yahtzee style to get goods, get workers, build cities, build developments, build monuments, and avoid disaster. So, in this game, each city you have equals the number of dice you can roll. Everyone starts with 3. In order to build things, you have to fill these little blocks, open squares, with workers. That works with cities and also with monuments. So let's go through kind of a basic turn here. You start with these 3 dice. Well, I mean, there's those 2. It doesn't have to be these 3. And you roll. So let's see what we have here. We have coins and we have goods. Well, this is a good time to explain how goods work. Goods are what lets you purchase upgrades for your civilization. Whoop. That one tried to get away. So you see this developments track here, how each one has a cost. This is how much value in goods, or these coin dice, you'll have to get rid of to buy them. Each one gives you a special effect the other player won't have unless they also purchase it. So when you're getting goods, how the goods work is for each vase that you see on your dice, you start at the bottom and move over 1. So for example, this would go 1 because I only have 1, but let's say I had several. It could go, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we look at the numbers. That's 5 plus 4, 9, 12, 2 is 11, 1 is 12, so that wouldn't be very much. And I can only buy the ones that are the 10s, which leadership is pretty good, and so is irrigation. Irrigation prevents drought, which is a disaster. So let me show you how the disasters work. You see these skulls on the dice right here? Ooh, hello! You may get 2 goods for that, but also those skulls can be bad. If you see right here, if you roll 1 skull, that's fine. 2, you lose 2 points. 3, your opponents lose 2 points. So, maybe you want to try to do that. 4, you lose 4 points. 5 or more, you lose all of your goods. So, you'll be using these goods to buy developments. However, there is a catch. You can never, at the end of your turn, have more than 6 goods. Right now I have 5, so I'd be fine. But let's say my board looks something like this. Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'd either want to spend or get rid of some. Now when you spend a line of goods, you have to spend all of it. I can't just take this 6 down to a 2. I have to spend all 6. So you want to be thinking about that. So let's get back to how workers work. If this game would let me. Well, there's food. Oh, look at that. I magically rolled workers. Wow. Also, these coins are worth 7 purchase power on a turn, but they're only good for that turn. They don't hold between turns like goods do. Woo! Here we go. Now, this one can be 2 food or 2 workers. This one is just 3 food, and this one is 3 workers. Unless you get a special ability, some of which will add like an extra worker to the die or extra food to the die. And you may be wondering, why do I need food? Well, it's to feed your cities. Remember how I said you start with 3 at the beginning of the game? You'll need to feed 3 food. So first I would collect food. I'm going to take this. That would bring me up to 6 food. And then I would have to pay. The first step of the turn is always collecting your goods and food. You get 3 rolls like Yahtzee to try to get what you want. If you roll a skull, you do have to keep the skull and set it to the side and use it. So, now I would feed my people. So it would just go back down to 3, which is great. And now I have 5 workers to use. So, that means if I wanted, I could fill this little top here, and you have a 4th die next turn. Or, maybe I want to go big and go for a monument. And there's a reason you want to be the first to build a monument. The number on the left is the number the first person to build that monument will get. As you can see, depending on how big the monument is, it's quite a bit more than other players will get when they build it. But it's harder to get stuff with just 3 dice. So it's a balancing game between trying to get goods, to get these things, get enough dice, and make sure you build enough monuments to get a lot of points, because the winner is the person with the most points. Now when you do get these disasters, you have to mark squares down here on the bottom, and you'll lose 1 point for each square that you mark. And the skulls are not the only way you can lose points. Let's say I have 3 towns, but only 1 food. That means I can only feed 1 of my cities. I have to mark 1 box off for each city I cannot feed, and that will cost me points at the end of the game. So the game ends whenever all monuments collectively among all players have been built. That means, like, if I built this 3, someone built this 3, then someone built that 1, the game would end. Or when 1 person has 5 developments. Usually developments is what happens. And then you tabulate your scores and see who built the grandest civilization. It's a super fun game. The only thing that's sometimes a little wonky is people get confused about the 6 goods thing, but that just takes a little explaining. But I highly suggest trying it out. I know it's a bit of an older game, but still checks out. That's Rolling Around at the Speed of Sound by Sega.